In this video, we will look at problems covering everything we have learned thus far about rotational motions. This includes angular velocity, angular acceleration, angular position and angular displacement, energy, torque, moment of inertia, and angular momentum. Problem 1. A turntable rotating at 30 rev per minute slows down at a constant rate and stops in 25 seconds. Find that constant angular acceleration and also how many revolutions does it make in this time. Now, since this is a slowing down motion, so we can expect the constant angular acceleration to have a negative sign. First, we'll gather the information that we have. We know initially it's rotating at 30 rev per minute, so that is your initial angular velocity, 30 rev per minute. Now we can change this into radian per second by multiplying it with 2 pi and dividing it with 60. And that's going to give you pi radian per second for the initial angular velocity. Now we also know the time interval for this motion is 25 seconds, and the turntable comes to a complete stop. So the final angular speed, angular velocity, is 0 radian per second. The angular acceleration can be determined from the first equation of rotational kinematics, which is the following. So the final angular speed is 0. The initial angular speed is pi. Alpha is what you want to determine in 25 seconds. So 25 seconds is the time it takes to stop. So that means your alpha is minus pi over 25 radian per second squared, which will be minus 0.126 radian per second squared. Part B, how many revolutions? So we are looking for angular displacement, and we can use the time-independent equation to get the angular displacement, which is the following. Now we know that the final angular velocity is 0, so that's going to go away. So substituting the results that we have thus far, so alpha is minus 0.126. Delta theta is what we want to find, minus omega I. Omega I is pi squared. And we can solve for delta theta, which is the angular displacement in radian, which is 39.2 radian. Since we are interested in revolutions, all you have to do is to take that 39.2 divided by 2 pi, because one revolution is 2 pi radian, and that's going to give you 6.2 revolutions, and that solves the problem. A thin uniform rod shown below has a length of 4 meters. It is pivoted about a horizontal axis through one end, so that is the axis of rotation, and it's coming out of the board. Now if the rod is released from rest at an angle of 30 degrees as shown, above the horizontal, so that's the alpha, what is the angular speed of the rod as it passes through the horizontal line? So this is the horizontal line, and we want to determine its angular speed when it falls like that, namely omega. So this is a problem about energy. The center of mass will fall a vertical distance like that. So that distance is obviously 2 sine alpha, because what you have is a triangle like that. That is alpha, this is 2, and this is the falling distance of the center of mass, 2 sine alpha. So there will be a loss in its gravitational potential energy. That is the 0 joule level for the gravitational potential energy. So that means the change in the potential energy of this rod is given by the mass, which is m, let's say, gravitational acceleration, and h, which is 2 sine alpha. Alpha is 30 degrees. and that is mg. We note that since this center of mass is falling from a higher altitude with a higher potential energy to the level where the potential energy is 0, the change in potential energy is actually negative. It's losing its potential energy. And this potential energy that is being lost will go into increasing the kinetic energy of rotation. So the kinetic energy change, or the increase in kinetic energy, is given by the final kinetic energy minus the initial kinetic energy. We are talking about kinetic energy of rotation. The initial kinetic energy is 0 because the object is released from rest, so that is 0. The final kinetic energy is given by half times the moment of inertia times the final angular speed squared, which is what we want to find. Since this is a conservative system, the total mechanical energy is conserved, so you can write it like that. Recall our previous video on conservation of mechanical energy. So delta K is half times I times omega squared. Delta U is m minus mg. If you bring it to the other side, it will simply become mg. I is the moment of inertia of this uniform rod. From our previous video on moment of inertia and using the parallel axis theorem, moment of inertia of such a uniform rod about an axis passing through one of the edges is given by 1/3 mass the length of the rod squared. So mass is m and L is 4 and 4 squared. Substituting the expression for I in here, we will get 1/2 1/3 m 16 omega squared equals mg. The mass will get cancelled, and we can solve for the angular speed of the rod as it passes through the horizontal line, the final angular speed that is, and that will be 1.92 radiant per second, and that solves the problem. Problem 3 on torque. As shown in the diagram below, two masses are connected to a pulley, so mass 1 and mass 2. That is the pulley by a massless cord mounted on a horizontal axle. So the axis of rotation here is coming out of the board. Now M1 is 350 grams, M2 is 450 grams, so M2 is heavier than M1. The pulley is in the shape of a uniform disc with mass 500 grams and radius 10 centimeters. The system is friction-free. The masses are released from rest. Find the acceleration of the blocks, tension on the left core T1 and tension on the right core T2. So let's start with the free body diagram. Free body diagram for M1. So this is M1. So you have its weight pulling it downward. So that is M1G, or 0.35 G. 0.35 is the mass of M1 in kg. You have tension T1 pulling it upward. Now we know M1 is the lighter of the two masses, so the acceleration will go upward. Mass 2. The free body diagram for mass 2. Again, the weight, the mass is 450 grams, so its weight is 0.45 times gravity. The tension T2, up. Mass 2 is heavier, so it's going to accelerate downward. So let's write down F equals to ma for these two free body diagrams. For the first case, the net force is T1 minus 0.35 G, and that equals ma 0.35 A. So that's equation 1. For equation 2, you have to rely on the second free body diagram. The net force is 0.45 G minus tension 2 equals mass 0.45 times acceleration. So that is equation 2. Now we need a third equation. The third equation will come from the free body diagram for the pulley. Note that you have tension here T2, tension T1, like that, And the combination of the torques from these two forces, T1 and T2, rotate the pulley like that. So that means the torque due to tension 2 plus the torque due to tension 1 must give rise to moment of inertia times the angular acceleration. This is Newton's second law for rotation. Note the difference. These are taus and these are t's. Torque 2 will rotate the pulley clockwise and torque 1 will rotate the pulley counterclockwise. And we note since the overall rotation is clockwise, then torque 2 must be greater than torque 1. So the scalar version of this equation will be torque 2 is T2 times the position vector given by the radius of that pulley, and that is 0.1. The angle between them is 90 degrees, sine 90 is 1. Now torque 1 due to tension 1 is T1 times again 0.1, and this equals the moment of inertia of the pulley, which is half times the mass. The mass is 500 grams, so in kg, 0.5, times the square of the radius. The radius is 10 centimeters. Change that into meters, 0.1 squared. Alpha is the angular acceleration. Given in terms of a, it is a over 0.1. So as you can see, the 0.1 will just cancel each other like that, giving you the third equation, T2 minus T1, 1 over 4a. So that is equation 3. We recall again that this side of that equation is I alpha, with I for the pulley is given by half times the mass times the square of the radius, since it is a uniform disk. Note that we have three equations, 1, 2, and 3, and we have three unknowns, T1, T2, and A. So you have A here, T2, T1, which you should be able to solve simultaneously to give the following answers for T1, T2, and A. A is 0.93 meter per second squared, T1 is 3.76 Newton, and T2 is 4 newtons. And that solves the problem. Problem 4. A turntable of mass 0.2 kg and radius 0.2 meter rotates freely about the vertical axis. So that is the vertical axis through its center with angular speed of 5 radian per second. It has a moment of inertia of that much, a mass of 0.03 kg. So that is dropped vertically on the rotating turntable and sticks to the edge. Find the angular speed of the system, turntable, and that tiny mass immediately after that. So we wanted to determine that omega f. So this is conservation of angular momentum problem. The initial angular momentum, represented by this figure, is given by the moment of inertia of that turntable times the angular speed, which is 5. And that's it. You don't have any other contributions, which is 2 times 10 to the power minus 3 kg meters squared per second. The final angular momentum, that is after the tiny mass dropped on the edge of that turntable, is given by the angular momentum of the turntable, which is 0.0004 times the new angular speed, plus the angular momentum of that tiny particle, which is 0.03. Since it's at the edge, you have to times that with 0.2 squared, because the radius is 0.2. So this is actually moment of inertia equation for a point particle. And then you times that with the new angular speed. Equating the angular momentum before and after, namely using the conservation of angular momentum, you can solve the only remaining variable, which is omega f, which is 1.25 radian per second. And that solves the problem. So we see that the introduction of this tiny mass actually slows down the rotation of the system. Thank you for watching.